Hi everybody, my name is Sal, and today I wanted to do a little video on some dry-aged meat. This is a UMAi Dry Bag. Santa Claus brought it to me for Christmas, and this chunk of meat, this New York strip, has been in here since December 27th of 2018. Today it is now February 4th, so we're about 39 days. You're probably wondering why 39 days and why not 45 days and why not 28 days. Quite frankly, I was going to save it for 45 days, but I'm hungry for a steak tonight, so I'm going to cut this bad boy open. I also have a good size ribeye roast that will wait till at least 45 days, and we'll see what that looks like. This steak at the beginning of the year was right at about 2 pounds, 0.8 ounces. And today, kilograms, 1 pound, 4.4. So, yeah, that's pretty good. That's quite a bit. I don't have the starting weight when I first put it in the bag. I didn't have a scale, so my apologies for not tracking that. But this thing has lost significant water. Let's go ahead and cut it open. You can see the UMAi Dry Bag is kind of coming off, and that is okay. This is not a Ziploc bag. This bag specially forms to the meat, so it allows that moisture to escape. You'll see this little cloth thing that's called their vac mouse, and what this allows is when you run it through the vacuum sealer, it'll pull out as much air as possible, and then but that allows the air to escape more, because again, this is not a regular vacuum sealed bag. So let's go ahead and cut this open. We can see some dried goodness there. The meat is no longer tender anywhere. This is pretty hard. Let's go ahead and pull it out of the bag. So this has got a good meaty flavor. Doesn't smell bad at all. You can see some of the fat here. That's just a giant fat cap. This is not soft at all. But I know this bark forms on the outside. We're going to go ahead and trim that off today and see what we got. The meat itself is kind of bent over this way. And I should point out, I know nothing about butchering, so I'm just going to take a knife to this and cut off all this stuff, all this bark, till we get to some nice meat. Now, every video I've seen, a guy always cuts the bark off and says, hey, don't worry about it, I'm going to save that for later and make something special. I honestly couldn't tell you what special people are making, but for some reason I feel compelled to save what I cut off. And I'm going to stick it in a vacuum seal bag and freeze it up, and when I figure out what that something special is, I'll make something special. So if you know what to do with this, the bark here, tell me and we'll do something with it. Okay. Well, to be honest with you, I hadn't thought this out. I don't know what to do. I think I'm just going to start shaving away here till I get a nice, till I just get rid of this stuff. And we'll start doing that. You know what? Let's try a different knife here. Watching a guy cut meat on the internet. How exciting. Again, I am not a butcher, so do not criticize my New York steak cutting skills. Oh, we still got a little bit to go. And this meat has really shrunk down. It is amazing how little of this there is left. My hope, honestly, was to, I think I started with about 3 inches, and I was hoping I was going to get 2 steaks out of it. But I think today there is just going to be 1 steak that I'm going to get out of it. Got a paper towel here, and we'll set that bark off on the side. We'll trim that away a bit more. Let's kind of start cutting at this. This, I don't even know where to start. I think we're just going to take some nice slow cuts on this. Start shaving this down, I think we'll. Oh, one thing, it does definitely have a distinct smell to it. For the first couple of months, the refrigerator did not have any smell whatsoever, and I think now with the 2 cuts of beef in there, this steak and that ribeye, plus I have a copa in there that I'm curing, or that I'm drying at this point. It's starting to get a little funk in the refrigerator, but it's not bad, and something I think most people would just pour some baking powder in there. You know, put the Arm & Hammer, I'm sorry, baking soda, the Arm & Hammer boxes in there, and that would kind of get rid of the smell. The UMAi stuff is, well, I think we're kind of there. The UMAi bags just go in a regular refrigerator. We don't need to have anything fancy. I have it just sitting on a wire rack in the fridge, and that seems to just be fine. Now the good news is I'm eating this myself, so if I don't butcher it so beautifully, I'm really not too worried about it. I just want to kind of get that hard stuff off. I know a lot of people eat that. Yeah, that is some awesome butchering there. Probably an inch here, an inch and a half back here. I think we cut it a little more back here. I need to start watching guys like Guga and Crazy Dave a little closer to look at their cutting techniques. Now, I know why you don't want to throw this stuff away. I mean, there's a lot of good meat on here, and like this whole chunk, there's very little that's kind of that dried stuff. My guess is folks are doing some sort of sausage or something with these. Okay, so I'm not going to torture you any longer. What I'm going to do is stop here, finish trimming this stuff up, and take this stuff up, and then I will come back to you. So see you in a second. All right, here is what we are left with. 12.9 ounces, so 13 ounces, a little less than a pound. And I forgot what we started with, but I'll look that up and then show the difference here. So that works good. That'll be a nice steak. This is, I gotta say, I will admit this is not the prettiest of butchering cut jobs, but it still looks good. And so what I'm going to do next is we're going to sous vide this afternoon, and I'm going to throw it into, I'm going to vacuum seal it. You can use Ziploc bags for sous vide, but I just love my vacuum sealer. It just sucks out all the air, and you don't worry about the bags floating to the top. So give me a couple minutes, we'll set that up, and we'll get it into a bag. Okay, so here's my Food Saver vacuum sealer. All I've done with the steak here is just put salt and pepper on it. I know some of you guys are just giant fans of garlic powder. I don't want that on my steak. I was also considering, I got one of these Breville smoking guns. These are kind of cool. You can put some hickory or apple or whatever in here and actually smoke. And originally I was going to just cut this guy in half, smoke one half, and leave the other just so I could taste it. But quite frankly, it's kind of a small steak, so I'm just going to eat it as is. I'm not going to add any flavoring to it, again, except for salt and pepper. So we're just going to take this guy, stick it in here. I know you're all excited just to watch this, and we're going to hit vac and seal. Great, so that sucked out all the air. It is far easier to do this than it is try to, and no, it's not hard to get the air out of a Ziploc bag. I know that, but this is just easier. I don't worry about it floating too much. I do like to put double seals on these. You know, it's sitting in a bath of water, and quite frankly, this started off as a very expensive piece of meat that I've lost quite a bit of it in weight. And I just don't want water seeping into the bag in my sous vide oven. Let's go ahead and weigh this, and we'll weigh out the stuff that I cut off too, just for curiosity's sake. And so I'll come back and show you that in just a minute. So here we are on the weight. As you notice, it weighs just a little more, and that's obviously because of the bag. So 13.3 ounces. Again, I'm going to say this is about a 13-ounce steak, New York. And that's what we got. And we got a whole lot more of the leftovers here. 15.3 ounces. I'm going to guess that 0.3 is... just due to the bag. So, you know, interesting that I've got more in kind of leftover than I do the actual steak. And again, part of that is, the problem is I only got a 3-inch or a little less than 3 inches of New York strip when I asked for it. This is the Ribeye Roast that I have. This guy's at 6 pounds, 2.5 ounces. And we started that back on January 9th at 7 pounds, 3 ounces. So it's lost a pound in just moisture weight. Again, it'll be a big difference in what I'm going to take off versus what I'm going to have. So this is going to come out at February 23rd. Actually, I'm going to leave it in a little longer. We're going to have family dinner with this guy. Going to cut it up into probably 4 really nice big steaks, and that'll be really nice. And that is just living on a rack in my refrigerator. Again, with the UMAi bags, you don't need to do anything exciting. So now to take this bad boy, I'm going to get my sous vide oven set up, and we'll show you that next. Here we go. All right, so this is just a big tub of water. This is my Nova sous vide. I don't know what you call these things. I'm never sure there's a technical name. Sous vide circulator. That might be the right thing. So if you've never cooked with sous vide, basically what's going to happen is I'm going to stick the steak in here. The circulator. So if you look right here, the temperature of this water is 126, and we're going to have it up to 133. When I hit start on here, it's going to start circulating this water. It's going to bring it up to temperature, and it will hold it there at a very precise temperature. For this steak, I'm going to want 131. And, oops, come on. Now, Nova has an app. I can connect to Bluetooth. I can do all fancy stuff with it. So I want... if I can learn how to operate a scroll wheel. 131 degrees. So the water out of my tap was already 131 degrees. So that's pretty cool. If you notice, it isn't very loud. This is a pretty... quiet circulator, and basically what I'm going to do is stick the steak in. I got this nice little rack, so you can put multiple slices of beef in there, and it's just going to sit there for another 2 hours. That sounds good. And what we're going to do here is we want to put the lid in to make sure water doesn't evaporate, and I've got a little Reflectex. This came with the case here, and that just kind of helps keep the heat in. So it's going to sit here, circulate, and like I said, in 2 hours I will take this out. I know it's very exciting. We'll see you later, and thanks for watching so far. Alright, so it's been almost 2 hours. Quite frankly, I'm just getting hungry, so I'm going to skip the last 10 minutes or so. So let's take this off, and then we're going to pop our lid off. Get that out of here. And so what we have right now is a very hot steak. Use some tongs. I'm going to take this guy out, throw it on the cutting board, and you can see what it looks like. Well, here we go. It doesn't look too spectacular, I'll be honest with you. But this is fully cooked to 131 degrees through and through. There's no hot spots in it. You know, the outside isn't overcooked. The inside isn't undercooked. This is cooked perfectly, 131, which is the way I like it. There weren't a ton of juices in the bag because this is a very lean cut of beef. Now, I've got the cast iron pan heating up. I'm going to do, there's a couple methods of searing this, but I'm going to do the mayonnaise sear. And I'm in California, so we got good old Best Foods. And I'm going to coat this with mayonnaise. And we're just going to throw it in a hot cast iron pan and cook her up. Just to get that sear on the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Next shot will be these two sitting in my cast iron pan. Okay, so this sounds a little different because the second I started cooking this, I had to throw it on the stove and turn the fan on, so it just covered up all the sound in the video. What you just saw there was the top half of the steak. I went ahead and covered that with a little mayonnaise, and we're going to let it sit in the pan for about a minute. Now that I know this is exciting to watch, but one of the things that you are completely missing is the fact that the smoke detector went off, so I was running around to get the smoke detector shut off. Here we are. I'm just going to add a little mayonnaise to the top of the steak and have that ready, so when I flip it in about 30 seconds, it'll just be ready to go. Mayonnaise puts a nice crust on it. I mean, there's a little egg in there, there's oil, and you could certainly put any other oil, but I'm not trying to overdo it too much here. Well, I know this is very exciting stuff. I have sped up the video just a little bit so you don't have to sit here for the whole time it cooks. So as you see, the mayonnaise did a pretty good job. It's got a nice crispy texture. In the end, it won't end up overcooked on the edges, but it just crisps up just nice, gives a nice little texture. So that was good enough for me, and now I'm just going to hit the edges to get that fat kind of rendered a little bit and crisp up all the other sides. All right, we are back. I've turned off the smoke detector. I've turned off the fan, and here we go. We've got a beautiful piece of meat. One of the things I forgot to do, or I didn't mention, was the fact that when I took it out of the sous vide bag, out of the bag, I patted it dry. And then I put the mayonnaise on it. I forgot to add a little salt. Good God, I love salt on beef. So let's just add some of that right now. And let's cut into this bad boy and see how it tastes. So this should be, again, cooked at 131. The sear would have raised the temperature a little bit, but I'm not really worried about that. What do we got? Looks good to me. Maybe if I had a better knife. I know you're yelling the fat is the best part, but I don't want the little bristly part here. So, let's see how this tastes. Okay. Of course I got to taste it, but now my mouth is full, so I can't really talk. I need like Guga and Angel here to give me their opinion. I don't know. I'm digging it. It's funny. The texture isn't super soft, but it is tender in the mouth. And so that's great. I'm going to make myself some King's Hawaiian rolls, put some butter on there, and plate this and have a juicy, delicious... it's not that juicy. It's... as you see, it's not leaking all the juices out. There really isn't a really strong ring. So this is, again, 131 cooked through. Maybe a little hotter on the edges there. But that's how I sous vide a New York strip. I'm going to say the tenderness is there, but I'm not getting a ton of the dry age flavor. Or I wasn't paying attention because I was just scarfing down that first bite. So it's there. I can't talk with my mouth full. So I'll go finish off and say thank you very much for watching this. If you're interested or have any questions, post them below. If you want to see some other videos, or when I get to that ribeye roast in about a month, I'll post that and we'll see what that looks like and get some family reactions for the taste. So again, my name's Sal. I appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you later. Okay, everybody, welcome back. It's been almost 2 hours. I've got about another 10 minutes to go, but I'm hungry, and so, darn it, let's get this taken care of. So, my steak has been sitting in this water bath at 131 degrees. Take two.